Hi there, fellow sea glass lovers. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Jackie, and this is a follow-up to last week's video. In last week's video, I told you do not use glue when you're doing sea glass mosaics. Well, today I'm going to show you a few advantages of using this, which is Quick Seal adhesive caulk. You can use any product for adhesive caulking, silicone adhesive caulking, but this is my preferred one. It's clear, goes on white, but it dries clear. So I'm going to show you 4 reasons why this product works better than any glue product you'll ever use. So last week I showed you some difficulties I've had with this piece, which is a piece I did over 16 years ago, has been hanging in the window ever since, and has had to come in for repairs a number of times. So today, to show you why the adhesive caulk works better, I'm going to show you this piece, which is also over 16 years old, but I did this one using the adhesive caulk, and I'm going to show you 4 advantages of using the adhesive caulk over a glue product. So this is a close-up view of my adhesive of choice, the Quick Seal adhesive caulking that is clear. So one of the biggest advantages of using this over using epoxy is that it actually stays over time, because this piece has had a number of the sea glass pieces, the glue has dried up and the pieces have fallen off, so they've had to be re-glued. Whereas this piece has not had one piece fall off in the 16 plus years that it's been hanging in the window. So that's a big difference. A second reason why I would prefer not to work with a glue product, if I turn this over and look at it from the back, you'll see all of the yellow, because that epoxy over time has turned yellow. You don't notice it so much on the back of the green pieces and the brown pieces, but it's very visible on the back of all those white pieces. And you look at that beautiful white circular piece I have, and it's kind of ruined with the yellowed glue on the back of it. Now, if you look at the back of this piece, which is just as old, but because it's a different product, the product does not turn yellow, and there's not even a slight shade of yellow on the back of any of those. The silicone dried clear and it stayed clear, even though it's been hanging in the window for years and years. A third reason I'd rather use the adhesive caulk than the epoxy is that this piece took me a really long time to do, because epoxy smells really bad and I'd get a headache when I'd use it. So I'd only get like a little section done, and then I'd have to stop and take a break and come back the next day to work on it some more. Whereas with this piece, because the silicone adhesive caulking doesn't have any odor, I could sit and work on it as long as I like. And that way I got it done quite a bit quicker than if I had to take a break after a very short period of working. A fourth reason that the epoxy was kind of awkward to work with is that I would find that the glue would set really quickly. So the pieces would be set quickly, and then I'd have to leave them there. I couldn't fuss with them and move them around. So then as I went to fit in other pieces, if they weren't exactly in the right place, you know, to me, these aren't lined up nearly as well as they would be if I would have been able to fuss with them a little bit longer. Whereas when I was working with the silicone adhesive caulk, it takes a really long time to set. So especially when I was working with these tiny little pieces in here, I'd have lots of time to kind of fuss with the pieces and move them around to make sure that they're lined up really well, so I could get those lined up like a flower really nicely, and get the other pieces just in place, exactly where I wanted them. And it ended up lined up much better than if the glue had set very quickly. So now as I stand back and look at these 2 pieces, this piece, which was done just shortly before the one to the right of it, it looks really old, and it looks like an old piece of art that is ready to be tossed out. Whereas this piece does not look any different than the day I finished it and hung it up. So that, to me, gives your piece of art a lot of longevity. So I really hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions about glue and why the silicone adhesive caulk may work better than any other glue product, please feel free to send me a note. And this piece looks just lovely hanging in the window where it's been hanging for quite a few years. So thanks so much for joining me for this video. I really hope you found it helpful. And until next time, I hope you make it out to the beach and happy sea glass hunting.